So we're going to talk about LeBron now. And on the Richard Jefferson podcast that he was on, I forgot the name of it, but what he basically said is that he won the 2 hardest championships in NBA history. And he doesn't care what nobody says. He won the 2 hardest championships in NBA history. Do you believe that he did?
That's such a it's such a crazy. Oh my God. Okay, I want to say this. He in 2016. Yeah, he can say he won the hardest championship, but to say he won the hardest championship last year, I can't agree with that because it wasn't the hardest championship last year. I feel like when you put everybody was in the same setting, so everybody had the same. It wasn't like a regular season where people had to deal with traveling or heckling fans or like home court advantage, or you had like everybody was in the same area. You guys got the same treatment. You guys got what Dame was telling us. Well, like great treatment. Like the court was right there, trainer was right there. Like you didn't have to be all sore after games. Like everybody got a well rested move. So you got everybody at their best. I feel like when you're in a season, like a regular season, and when you get guys coming in and they're tired, I feel like that's more harder overcoming that. Like when the LeBron and them came back from 3-1. I feel like that was harder because not only did you go down 3-1, you have to win 4 straight, 2 in Golden State. And I think in 2016, we can all agree that was the hardest place to play in the playoffs. Golden State, Oracle Arena, it was a crazy arena. You had to go win 2 straight against an MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year that year.
No, yeah, I think that was the hardest championship in history.
Yeah, I think that right there, that's number one. That was all that culmination, that was the hardest. But I think last year, I can't call last year one of his hardest championship. But 2016, definitely, yes.
What's a harder championship than last year's, though? Because if you're going to tell me it wasn't, I want to know what was.
I would say Dirk's championship was harder against Miami Heat. I would say 1998, Michael Jordan's championship was a lot harder. I would say, if I had to pick another one, I would say San Antonio's 2014, was it? No, I'm lying. I would say Miami, LeBron's 2013 ring was a lot harder than that one last year. What else? I think those would probably be the ones. I can't call last year's the hardest because it's not like you play. Okay, if we're gonna do what's the hardest, you have to look at the competition. You played the Miami Heat. No offense to the Miami Heat, they're a good team. You played the Miami Heat. Goran Dragic played what one or two games. Bam,
they played other teams too.
Did he say hardest run or he's talking about just the championship?
I mean, the hardest championship is like taking everything into account. I think it definitely was the hardest championship. Maybe the 2016 one was definitely. I think it was harder because that was the greatest team assembled in NBA history.
Oh, we talk about runs. Dirk run was better.
Hold up, that wasn't a harder championship to win than this championship, and this is why.
Yeah,
when you're in the bubble. LeBron even said it when he was talking to Richard Jefferson. He said, people that weren't in the bubble won't understand. So I know you don't understand. You weren't in the bubble, man. I know you don't understand. But the reality is that when you're in a bubble environment like that for months, he didn't see his kids for 2.5 months. Didn't see his. You think it matters? I think it matters. What? It definitely does matter.
His kids?
Matters. Yeah, his family,
Bro,
his
come
kids.
on.
It matters. You're going through a national pandemic, a global pandemic. Social issues in the United States of America going on right now. We know how crazy of a time it was a couple months ago. They were even deciding whether or not to start the bubble. And then you look at, you're isolated from the world. You're isolated from everybody.
Basketball. They've been through it before. 2.5 months.
Yeah, for a weekend, not 2.5 months. For a weekend, not 2.5 months.
They were playing in an empty gym, bro.
When we talk about hardest championships, I want to know from the experts what they think.
Okay.
So, your opinion is cool and all, but like I respect the opinions of Giannis more, of Eric Spoelstra.
Okay.
And Giannis said this is the toughest championship you could ever win. Austin Rivers said the same thing. I remember I sent you that tweet when he said it.
You can't use him though.
Eric Spoelstra said most worthy of all world championships. He said this before anybody won. He said most worthy of all world championships.
When did he say When he got in the finals?
No, when they were in the bubble, before he got
Okay.
in the finals. Mike Malone co-signed that statement. Doc Rivers, Brad Stevens. These are all guys that said this is going to be the toughest championship. And this is going to be the most respected championship of all time. So when it comes to players and coaches inside the bubble, they all feel consensus. It's a consensus that they feel like this is the hardest championship to win.
Obviously, the teams that are in that possibly have a chance to win it are gonna say this is the hardest championship, because if they do win it, then that can go into their favor. You're talking about they were isolated at Disney World. With LeBron already spends millions on his body. He was fine. Bro, let me explain something to you. What's worse? And I want you to know what's a more dangerous environment. I want you to answer this truthfully. Don't lie about it. No.
Answer
let me ask the question. Game 5 in Los Angeles, Dirk versus Kobe, or Game 5 in a bubble, LeBron versus Nikola Jokic. What's a harder game?
You mean the year that they got?
We're talking about.
They swept the Lakers.
I'm gonna use.
They swept the Lakers that year.
I'm gonna use 2011 specifically.
They swept the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm gonna use two. Okay, so pardon me. Game 4. Like Dirk played Kobe, he played KD and Westbrook, and I don't remember who he played in the first round. I know he played Kobe, KD and Westbrook.
They played the Lakers.
So he played Kobe, he played KD. So who did he play in the second round?
I can search it up right now, but I'm just saying they swept the Lakers. That wasn't they weren't. That wasn't a tough matchup.
How wasn't a tough match if they weren't favored to win it, and then they just came out and played better? How's that not tough?
What do you mean?
So
they were favored to win.
Dirk was not favored to win. Kobe
against the Lakers. They
were a
swept them.
6th seed, bro.
They swept them.
They weren't supposed to, though. Is my point.
They swept them. They swept them.
That wasn't supposed to, though. Is my point.
Before the playoffs, what was everybody saying about LeBron supporting cast?
Right.
No depth, no 3-point shooting. People were even picking the Blazers to make it a tough matchup. They beat them in 5. Then they beat the Rockets in 5. Then they beat the Nuggets in 5. The same Nuggets team that beat the Clippers team that you thought was going to go to the NBA championship.
They beat them in an empty gym.
That does not matter.
That doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't.
A arena packed with thousands and thousands of fans.
Of your fans.
Heckling
what do you mean?
Home court. Wait.
Lakers are going to get guaranteed 4 home games if they go to Game 7 because they're favorites.
And so
they're the top seed.
Wait.
So they're going to have. So they're also going to have 4 games where the fans are with them.
Just like the other team is also going to get home court advantage. It's
wait. So you're saying basically it's neutral. It cancels out.
No, I'm saying
yes,
fans,
it does.
No, I'm saying fans matter. I'm saying yes, you're right. Living situation does matter, but traveling also matters. So you're not looking at the situation as they're all in the same spot. Traveling plays a toll on you. The fact that you have to leave a post game, go straight instead of going to ice your body. You have to go get ready for a plane to go travel to another arena. That matters too. Like stuff like that matters. Then you have to get there late. You have to get some sleep. You have to practice. That matters. They literally had to leave the court, go walk to their rooms, and they can be ready. That plays a factor. The same way how he's saying his family and stuff. The living was easier. Everything was right.
I don't think the living was easier.
Everything was right there. And
no, it's not, because they're not living. They're not living with anybody in their family. In the playoffs, they are.
All right, bro. No,
I think yes, it does. It does matter. It does matter.
You're saying they're living with their family. They're literally on the road in a crib that
not all the time because they have 4 home games.
Yeah, but it's 2-2. 1-1-1. They're not there 4 times in a row. You do know that, right?
No, of course they're not there 4 times in a row, but they're there. They're at home though.
Okay,
they're at home,
but then they're on the road.
You're literally trapped inside of Disney World. Like you're isolated inside
Disney World. It's Disney World. It's really not that bad.
Disney World.
It's not that bad, bro. It's Disney World. Like everything was handed to them on a silver platter. Like you're trying to downplay.
Wait. So when they're traveling to different arenas, everything's not handed to them on a silver platter either.
Not like Disney World was.
Yes, it was. Yes, they are.
How would you know?
What do you mean? Because the players when they're traveling, they go to 5-star hotels on the road.
They're literally
everything's handed to them. They're NBA players. Hold on.
Now let me say.
They're NBA players. They get handed everything anywhere they go, regardless.
There's literally been talks in the NBA about shortening the season because the travel is too much. What do you mean? Like
there was also, do you remember that when the Bucks held out from playing the game and everybody in the room, including the Lakers and Clippers, decided it'd be best to just cancel the season. Why do you think that is? It's because they wanted to get out the bubble.
No, because of COVID.
That's not why they wanted to cancel it. If you know, it was because of the unarmed black man that died. That's why the Bucks even held that
So it wasn't
protest.
even. You just said it wasn't because of the bubble. Then you just said it was because of the unarmed black guy dying. Which one was it?
No, it's both. They obviously don't want
So
to
it
be in
wasn't
that
because of COVID.
Bro, the reason why they wanted to get out the bubble because they felt like they could do more stuff for social injustice outside of the bubble than in it.
That had nothing.
Yes, but it's also with the bubble because you're isolated from the world.
No, you literally just no. They wanted to leave because they wanted to do more in the world for social injustice. That had nothing to do with the fact that they're stuck in the bubble because of whatever reason.
Yes, it does. It does have.
You just said they want.
It does play a factor.
You just said they wanted to leave.
How are you going, bro?
Okay,
how are you going to say that? How are you going to say it when?
That's what you just said. I'm telling you what you said.
How are you going to say that when even LeBron said? I don't know if you watched. Did you watch the Richard Jefferson interview? It sounds like you didn't, because he even said that the bubble was tough circumstances. Every single coach has said it. Every player said it. They said it took Paul. You was even making excuses for Paul George's performance because of the bubble.
I'm sure the bubble situation was difficult. I'm not saying that it's not difficult. I never said it wasn't a difficult situation. But to say that you were a part of the two hardest championships, you're just literally trying to boast your way. The 2020 championship wasn't one of the hardest championships. It wasn't. It wasn't because everything has.
Wait, so you're saying LeBron's trying to boast his legacy by saying that?
No, I'm saying he's trying to boast his championships up. You know how when you win a championship and it goes down in history, right? And
I don't think so. I think he means that, and every player and coach agrees. I just read you the statements. They agree that it was one of the hardest championships.
And I understand the guys who are playing in the bubble are going to agree with him. I get that part. They're playing in the bubble. They're trying to win a championship. So of course it's gonna look like they're trying to boast. They're gonna boast the same championship that they're trying to winning. But I'm saying that to say that's the hardest championship because of that situation, but not look at every other situation. Like if you're gonna say that, everything plays into factor. Competition.
This whole year for everybody, including these players and us as human beings that even live in this country, this has been a really hard, tough year. And for them to be
every year is tough.
This year is tougher than any year that you've lived in prior 20 years, and a lot of people lived.
Okay.
This year is...
We're talking about the bubble, though.
Yes, but they've dealt with everything that we've dealt with, maybe not on the same level, but in terms of dealing with a pandemic and social injustice and all these issues and
social injustice has been around for years.
No, but not like the protests that have been happening this year. If you want to, we could argue about that a different day. But what I'm saying is that he did win one of the toughest championships in NBA history, not the second. I think the Golden State one is cool.
I think that one's cool too.
I think this one. I think he did win the two toughest championships in NBA history. Yes, he did.
I don't think it's two.
And you think he's just trying to boast his legacy because you love Michael Jordan, but in reality, that's a fact. Every coach and player has agreed with that statement.
Every coach and player that played in a name me a coach outside of the bubble that watched it and said this is the toughest. You can't name me one. The people who you can't tell me if you can't tell me
so
that
you're telling me I can't use people that are in it to explain.
Bro, people who are trying to win that's like saying, bro, people in a lockout season, they all go to the playoffs and they talk about this is the hardest championship because they're in the playoffs. You can't sit there and use the same.
Who's ever said that?
I'm just using an example.
No, you can't use an example that's never been said.
I can use an example.
No, you're using something that you think would have happened, but
I'm saying
you don't have a real example.
I'm saying you're using guys who played in a bubble, who are playing in the same bubble, who are trying to win the championship. If Boston would have won that championship, on God, they would have said, yeah, this was definitely the hardest championship ever. No, it's not. It's not the hard. It's a tough championship.
Or they would have said it because they already felt that way about it. It's not just because if they would have won, they would have said it because people that didn't win are saying it. So what are you really saying? You're giving me examples that haven't happened. Just what you think would have happened. You're guessing. It's not going off a fact.
There is no real fact in the argument. It's a debate.
No, there is fact. There's fact that people like Giannis, superstar players, said this is the toughest championship to win. And coaches have co-signed those statements.
That's their opinion. You're talking about people. So let me ask you a question.
And even reporters like I said, the flaw in your argument is that you're saying I can't use people that were in the bubble to talk about how it was a hard championship to win.
No. What I'm saying,
when people that were in the bubble would know most. You were
just about to use a reporter, but you just said you were just about to use a reporter.
No, yeah, because like Taylor Rooks has said the environment was not cool. Like
so let me ask you a question. And when you talk about the hardest championships ever, what plays into factor? Competition, environment. This is all correct, right?
When it comes to the toughest championship, that does play a factor.
No, I'm
but
asking
it also
what plays a factor.
yes, but it's also
what else?
competition and your situation.
Situation. Okay.
And I think their situation, being isolated from the world, was an extremely hard situation to go through.
Okay, I feel like okay, that part that makes sense. That part,
of course, that's what I've been saying this whole time.
If block, because NBA players block noise when they get on the court. They block, everything's blocked. Strictly basketball. In the bubble arena, you mean to tell me, like, okay, the social injustice, the pandemic, yes, that's correct. That has been a tough year for everybody. But you mean to tell me in that situation, in a bubble situation, that playing on that court, in that environment with like fans on a screen was tougher than playing in an arena with 30,000 fans on the road? Answer that. Just answer that.
I'll answer that by saying that.
God.
Didn't you just say that they block out noise anyway?
Yes, they block out the noise outside, but they can't block out fans, bro.
But you said fans, they block out the noise already.
I'm talking about stuff like that.
So what you're saying is that because there are no fans, players play better, right? That's what you're basically saying.
No, what I'm saying is it's a different environment.
No, okay. But what you're saying, because of no fans, then what? Because of no fans, it's easier.
It's a different environment.
No, you're saying because there's no fans, it's easier. That's what you're saying, basically.
Bro, Jamal Murray literally came out and said it's like AAU.
But you're saying
it's easier to play
because there's no fans, it's easier, right?
Yeah. I would
so
say
explain
that.
Paul George's performance.
He played like shit, bro.
Explain other athletes' performance. Not everybody played good in the bubble, so that means that statement does not hold true.
How does it not hold true?
Because it doesn't mean it's easier.
Wait. Because Paul George played like trash, it makes like Paul George played like trash. Jamal Murray played like a star.
Jamal Murray's played like a star in the playoffs before.
Wait, no, I'm just saying Jamal Murray played like a star. Paul George played like trash, right? LeBron played like a star. AD played like a star. Pascal Siakam played like trash. What does that? It's still the crowd is still a different environment. You can't tell.
Regardless,
you didn't even answer my question.
Regardless, I did answer.
You can't tell me. If you can't tell me playing. First of all, because you can't tell me playing a team with no fans who are known in the season for having the best home court advantage in the season is the same as playing them in a bubble arena where you can hear the basketball dribbling on the floor. You can't tell me that's the same thing.
It's still neutral because both teams have home.
Wait, stop talking. How is it neutral if one team is on the road with 30,000 fans violating them? How is that the same as...
Because they're still going to be at home.
How is that the same as two teams playing a neutral site for, say for example, two teams go 7 games.
So 2 teams are playing at a neutral site the entire time.
7 games. It's not... Hold on. No. 2 teams playing... No, because this sounds so stupid. 2 teams playing 7 games, a 7-game series in a neutral site is the same as 2 teams playing 7 games, and one team has 4 games at home, and another team has 3 games at home. How is that neutral?
I can't even take you seriously.
How is that neutral?
Just because you scream doesn't mean
How is that
you're
neutral?
right.
How is that neutral?
Let me explain to you right now.
How is that neutral? Go ahead.
Regardless, it was going to be neutral because the bubble, all 7 games, if they go to 7, is neutral, right? On the road, if the Lakers were this was a regular season and the Lakers played on the road, even if they were in that 7th game, they would have had home court advantage. So if anything, if they weren't in the bubble, the Lakers would have had an advantage. Even if they weren't playing in the bubble.
That proves my point that it's not neutral because the Lakers have an advantage. What do you like that?
But that means in the bubble they didn't have an advantage.
No,
they didn't have an advantage in the bubble.
The bubble was neutral. I agreed with you. I said with home.
When you play in the playoffs, it's neutral too. Because both teams have home court.
Because I'm gonna tell you why it's not neutral. The Miami Heat and the Philadelphia Sixers were the best home court teams in the East. In the East, they go to the bubble, it's neutral. Miami goes to the finals. If Miami and Philly played in a regular playoff environment where they have to go on the road, which they were the worst road teams in the East in terms of playoff teams. If they had to go on the road, it wouldn't have looked the same than when they played neutral in a bubble environment and everybody's on the same court and you can hear the ball dribbling on the floor. That's not the same same, bro. It's not the same. Like, what are you talking about? You keep talking about it's neutral. It's not the same. You literally just said the Lakers had an advantage. They have whole court throughout the whole time. Yes, they have an advantage because they would have had 4 games to everybody's 3. They would have had the LA advantage. It's common sense.
But it didn't take them 4 games. It didn't take them 7 games. It didn't take them 7 games. I hope you know that your argument is baseless. Like, you really make no sense. But you're just screaming so you think you make sense. But you really don't make no sense. Because that means that even if you're not in the bubble, teams that have home court would have an advantage that said game. But every team outside of Game 7, they all have the same amount of games that they have home court. No game in that Lakers championship run went to 7 games. And
in a neutral...
That means if they face the Nuggets, that means that the Nuggets would have had fans in that arena when they're at home as well, just like the Lakers. But in the bubble, every single game is on an even playing field, so there's no competitive advantage for either team. Just like if you're playing, if the Lakers were, if this was a regular season, the Lakers would have had a competitive advantage over other teams. But since it was in a bubble, they didn't. But you're not getting that argument. You're not getting that at all. Like I said, coaches and players have all said that this was the hardest championship to win, and this is going to be the most respected. You couldn't even name me championships that were harder. You named me Dallas's and 1998 Jordan, which was not hard. They were favored over Utah by a large margin.
Wait. You just said you said you said the championship
was that championship harder just because you watched the Last Dance documentary?
No, the championship was harder because Scottie Pippen had back problems and barely played, and Dennis Rodman was coming off the bench, and Michael Jordan led his team in points, rebounds, and assists because his team wasn't that good. That's why the championship.
I know you're a Jordan
That's
fan,
why the championship was harder. 2011 was harder because Dirk walked in as a 6th seed. As a 6th seed, he wasn't projected to go. They weren't projected to go to the finals.
Did you project the Lakers to go to the finals?
To the finals that year?
This year.
This year?
You didn't.
No, I had the Clippers.
Okay. Then be quiet because everything
doesn't make sense.
Because you just said nobody projected the Mavericks to go. You didn't project the Lakers to go.
Okay, but the Lakers and the Clippers were the favorites.
Clippers were the favorites.
Wait, no, you're a liar. The Lakers were the favorites.
They were the Clippers before.
I bet you don't bet. I bet you don't bet.
The Clippers were the favorites.
I bet you don't bet. I bet you don't bet. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
In the beginning of the season, Clippers weren't the favorites.
We're talking about when the playoffs started, bro. When the playoffs started, Dallas was a 6th seed. They weren't even a top 5 favorite. What are you talking about?
The Clippers were the favorites going into the playoffs this upcoming season, bro.
Bro, the Lakers were the favorites. Okay, whatever. It doesn't even matter. Even if the Clippers were favorites, the Lakers were number 2. Dallas as a 6th seed wasn't even top 5, top 7. They swept the Lakers. They beat KD and Westbrook, and they went on to the finals. And when LeBron was the heavy favorites, when they played Dallas, Dirk beat them. So I don't know how in that process that doesn't make that Dirk's ring was 2011 was definitely his top 3 hardest championships ever. He beat Kobe and the Lakers. He beat KD and them. He was on the road. He was never a favorite in any series. He wasn't a favorite. He wasn't. Even when he went to play Miami, he wasn't a favorite. LeBron in Miami, they were the heavy favorites. The Lakers were the heavy favorites against Denver. The Lakers were the favorites against the Rockets. The Lakers, because you don't bet, so I don't think you know what you're talking about. The Lakers were the favorites against Portland. The Lakers were heavy favorites against Miami. If you're the favorite in every time you play, what do you like? Dirk, come on, bro. Like
the reason why your argument is
in the bubble.
The reason why your argument is baseless because you're just taking into consideration the competition that was played.
Competition matters.
Okay, but you're not taking into consideration any of the circumstances that they had to deal with while living in the bubble.
I said
because your whole argument is based off that.
We already established that. I said in terms of environment. Yes, and the bubble was extremely hard.
But that's
why I asked you what comes into play when we're talking about the hardest one. You said competition, environment. Environment, yes, you got it.
But I think the environment,
competition,
the environment,
there's no way.
But the environment, but that's why when you talk about them winning a championship, you take everything into consideration.
Both environments.
This environment was totally different than anything any NBA player has ever experienced.
Absolutely.
This was a really difficult environment.
No, I completely agree with you on that in that sense. But now when you break it down into basketball, there is no way on planet Earth that this ring could have been harder than Dirk's ring in 2011. Strictly talking basketball environment, yes,
but that plays like 70%.
What
That plays like 70% of that. No, the environment plays like 70% of why the championship was so difficult. Yes, it does.
It doesn't. No, it
yes,
doesn't.
it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it
No,
does.
it doesn't.
Especially for this championship in the bubble. Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. So then on a regular season, what would the environment be?
Wait, what are you talking about?
If you're saying 70% this season plays a factor, 70% of the reason, right?
This upcoming season?
No, are you talking about in general, or are you just talking about this upcoming season?
No, in the bubble specifically.
So you're talking about
the
this
environment.
season
The environment. That's how much it played in a role because it was a really difficult environment.
Bro, okay, I get that part, but how are you just gonna wash away all the bad, like strict environment? Yes, I get that part. Environment, yeah, got it, yeah. But now cut draw. Talk about basketball, strictly basketball, putting the ball on the court.
But when
which ring was harder?
When it comes to competition, that's not the only thing you look at it when talking about championships.
But that's the only thing you've been talking about.
And not only
you
that,
haven't spoke about anything.
And not
else
only that,
but the
and not only
environment.
that, and not only that.
You're talking about rich people being put in Disney World. Yes, I get the environment.
Because they're rich people,
they're going through the pandemic just like us. I get it. It's probably harder for us than them, but I get it. But now you haven't said a basketball thing yet. Talk about the basketball aspect. Which ring was harder, Dirk's or LeBron's? You haven't said a thing about basketball. You keep talking about the pandemic. I get the pandemic. You keep talking about social injustice. I did say things
about basketball.
What you say?
Earlier in the argument, I said.
What you say? What you say?
The Lakers, they had trouble with depth. They had trouble 3-point shooting, and everybody in the media was talking about how
they were still a top 3 favorite to go to win the chip.
But everybody knows on the way. Everybody in the media on the way there was talking about all their problems throughout the.
But they were still a top 3 favorite to win the chip. Was Dirk a favorite? Answer that.
The thing is
Dirk a favorite?
This is the problem with you right now. The problem with you is that you're making the same dumb argument where you're not listening to anything that is being said. You're just blocking out everything that's being said and just listening to yourself.
Oh, I get what you're. I've been saying. I get what you're saying.
No,
for
you
20
don't
minutes.
get what I've been saying.
But you haven't spoke about basketball one time. Talk about it.
Not only
was Denver really hard. Keep it honest. Was Denver really a challenging team for LA?
They beat the Clippers.
I didn't ask you that. Was Denver a challenging team?
I think Denver was.
Was Houston?
If it wasn't,
no, answer this one. Was Houston really a challenging team for LA? Or are you just saying that because they have James Harden?
Houston was too. They just game planned for James Harden exceptionally. Even Jared Dudley was talking about how the team game planned for the Houston Rockets all night. They had them up all night game planning for them. But those are the things you don't want to talk about. You're just making an argument based off of opinions. I'm making my argument based off fact. I've told you what the players and coaches have said, and I'll give you another fact too. This championship, not only was it tough because of the circumstances, but also the pressure on LeBron and the Lakers to win the championship for Kobe. That played a huge role.
What the hell?
You don't think that played a role?
So wait. Oh my.
Yo, you don't think that played a role?
Come on, bro.
Are you serious?
No, come on. Like you're gonna come on.
Are you serious?
The pressure on LA to win because of Kobe's death?
Yes, there was huge pressure on them. They wore KB throughout every single the black Mamba jerseys that were undefeated in.
You really gonna use that as come on.
Bro, not only was this championship going to go down in history as a storyline because of the bubble, but it's going to be remembered forever because not only did the Lakers win a championship in a bubble, but they won a championship the year that Kobe died, and this championship was for him. That's like the perfect storybook ending.
What?
Yes, it is. Bro, you don't think it plays a role?
You really
you're out of touch. You're out of touch.
Come on, bro.
You're out of touch.
You're gonna try to use Kobe's death to say they won this championship for Kobe? Really, bro?
They did win it.
Bro, that's the dumbest shit. Any person whose favorite player was Kobe can literally say that. Oh, Dame, I want to win this championship for Kobe. Or if Kyrie would have played, I want to win this championship for Kobe. LeBron and AD, they won that championship because they wanted to win the championship, bro. It was not for Kobe, bro.
Of course.
They're gonna say that. Really obviously, you're gonna say that because you're gonna use that to your argument, but bro. They didn't.
No.
Come on,
wait,
bro.
What are you talking about?
Don't try to use Kobe's death as a means.
I didn't try to use Kobe's death.
This is why they won the championship.
I didn't try to use Kobe's death.
No,
for one,
they have not. In any media since they won that championship, Kobe hasn't been spoken about one time. So what are you talking about?
For one,
don't try to use Kobe's death.
I didn't talk
about it one time.
I didn't. What? Hold up.
They haven't talked about Kobe's death since they won the chip. Hold
up. For one, I'm not using Kobe's death. That's one. Like I said, just because you scream doesn't mean you're right, because you really sound dumb right now. What's the difference between Dame, Kyrie, and whoever's favorite player was Kobe, between LeBron and AD and their run? What's the difference, Riv? Because Kobe played for the franchise of the Los Angeles Lakers every single year of his career. That's why. Rob Pelinka, Kobe's best friend. When they won a championship, they cried for Kobe. So how is it not for Kobe? He definitely had a big part in the championship.
Have they talked about Kobe since then?
Just because they talked about it doesn't mean that it's not true.
I didn't hear it in one interview. I didn't hear them say, "Yo, this is for Kobe."
You want me to fetch it for you? I could do it after the podcast and make you look really stupid. So if you want me, I could do it.
Yeah, do it after the podcast. This is long.
Long segment. Because this whole argument, you've been going off opinion. I've been going off of fact. And that's just the bottom line of it.
The question is, do you think this was the hardest championship? It's an opinion question. That was the question you asked me.
Yeah, but in your argument, you brought no fact into your argument.
First of all, you asked me what championship do I think is the hardest. I think that Dallas was the hardest. I think that was the hardest championship. They played better competition. The environment in a home court, in a home environment in an arena with fans, I feel like it's still harder than the bubble. No, it wasn't a harder environment outside of the bubble, but in terms of basketball, I think that was a harder environment. But outside the bubble, yeah, because of the pandemic and all that good stuff.
All right, so what you're basically saying is that you took one half of the equation totally out of the mix when coming to your conclusion.
No, I said it plays a factor, but I feel like basketball still overcomes that because at the end of the day, they're playing basketball. It's always going to come down to them playing basketball. You could talk about social injustice all day. You could talk about the pandemic, but at the end of the day, they dubbed all of that to still play basketball. So talk about the basketball aspect.
Not everybody. Avery Bradley sat out for the Lakers.
Oh, my God. Avery Bradley. He was
huge for them in the season.
Did any big-time player sit out?
Kyrie
sat out?
Bradley Beal did, too.
Bradley Beal sat out? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. What about LeBron? The big main advocate.
Okay, so now because I gave you names, you want to just go on to LeBron.
No,
obviously LeBron did it.
Okay.
All right, but that doesn't make that point not true.
It doesn't.
You asked me, I gave you players.
No, you did give me players. You gave me Avery Bradley, weak player, but the two players you gave me after that were solid players. I give you those two. Those are solid. But the fact that the environment was cool, but at the end of the day, you walk in there, you put the headphones in, you suit up, you put the jersey on. It's time to play ball. And when you play ball, basketball to basketball, Dirk's ring was harder. That's just how I feel.
Before we end the segment, something I want to answer that really bothered me a little bit. Just because they're rich and they're playing basketball does not mean they're not human. And I feel like by making that comment about they're rich people just playing basketball, whatever, I think it kind of dehumanized them. I think that even if they're rich, they're still human, bro. And they still go through those feelings of isolation by being in a bubble.
They do, but I feel
being
like
in that. I don't think money just takes that away, bro.
It helps, though, a lot. It's a lot harder for us than them. That's all I said. That's all I said.
I think financially it's a lot harder for regular everyday people.
Financially,
but they go through a lot of stuff too when it comes to Paul George even talking about depression with his comments.
I get that. All I said was it was a lot harder.
So I'm just saying, just because they're rich doesn't mean they're not human, bro. They still go through the same emotions as us.
No, all I said was money just makes it a little easier.
And there's a way bigger spotlight on each and every one of those guys than any of us.
Still, all I said was
all right, but that's all I want to say.